Hi everyone, I'm Natalia and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about readings that we tend to do. I also always tend to do for myself when I'm in a state of anxiety and give my suggestion, my feedback to why it may not be the best. And if you were to do it, Oracle decks instead of tarot that I recommend, and one tarot deck instead of all the other tarot decks that I will be recommending today. I think this topic is really, really fascinating because all of us experience anxiety of different and lesser degree. Because also I have had done readings, and in fact, me gravitating to a tarot deck is almost always when I'm feeling worried or anxious about a situation, and I feel out of control, and I want to have an answer. And I learned something doing that over the course of years, and I noticed a pattern, and I wanted to share the pattern with you. But I also wanted to discuss with you three most common anxious states of mind to help you self-reflect and see which one you tend to fall into, which one tends to be more your tendency, because I think it's going to help you moving forward. Having said that, I am going to be very clear that while I am a psychologist by profession, I not only do I hate labels and pathologizing and the whole DSM, which is Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Psychiatric Disorders. I hate that book because there's so much in that is just normal human behaviors that majority decided is not acceptable. Having said that, I am using anxiety in a very general terms because, like I said, everybody struggles with anxiety, and some situations sometimes bring out more anxiety in us than others. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is just how some of us are organized as human beings. I don't believe there's a single human being in this world that is completely anxiety free. I think it's impossible because the world is very anxiety prone and very anxiety filled. Life in general, just the unpredictability of life and unpredictability of day-to-day interactions, day-to-day events brings an element of anxiety, because the root always underneath the anxiety, the root for all of us is feeling out of control. And none of us can control our day. None of us can control how the days are going to go because we don't know. We don't have a crystal ball, right? So it's really important for us to recognize which anxiety tends to predominate for us, because it'll help us, well, at least it helps me better understand myself and deal with it better when I feel really, really worried. Anxiety is not even really a good word to describe the feeling we all experience. A better word would be worry or fear. And fear would be even better word, because all anxiety is essentially is fear. It's feeling afraid. And we always feel afraid when we feel out of control, when we don't know how it's going to unfold. Today, I drew Three of Swords, and I immediately felt fear because I did not know what is that supposed to mean, how that it's going to manifest in my day-to-day. And I felt hypervigilant and fearful. So let's use the word fear instead of anxiety, because it's so much better word to describe how we feel. And anxiety is too clinical, and that's not what I'm trying to do here. So having said that, I think it's really, really interesting how we tend to respond towards cards. And I know that for a fact, all of us respond to cards differently depending on what state of fear we're in, because that's just how it's going to happen. There's going to be this natural extension of who we are that's going to project into the tarot readings that we're doing. I have noticed that for me over the course of years, every time I have done a reading when I'm in that fearful state, and I've done it when I had a knee surgery coming up because I had a lump and my doctors weren't sure what the lump was. And there was a possibility that it could be that my cancer came back, which was very rare possibility, but still possibility. And I was incredibly fearful and scared. And I did tarot reading on that. And you know what happened? The damn cards reflected back to me my fearful state. For me, I learned that when I'm in that really fearful, scary place and I do tarot readings for myself, it almost always just reflects back to me how I feel. So I started to do two things. One, I started to not do readings when I'm fearful and just ground myself, allow myself to calm down, do self-soothing exercising, take a hot bath, try to relax, try to bring down that level of fearfulness I feel. Or I started doing what I'll show all of you to do that has been very, very helpful. When we're talking about fear, again, anxiety, I noticed that there's three most common patterns that people tend to fall into. And again, depending on what pattern, you may have all three or two or just one. I, for example, exhibit two of these patterns in my daily life. There's nothing wrong with that. We're all organized differently. So keep in mind that if you fall into one or all of these categories, it doesn't mean that you have, again, generalized anxiety disorder and you need to be medicated. Absolutely not. Again, anxiety and fear is a natural state of being a human and being alive. If you feel afraid of something, if you feel scared of something, that just means welcome to planet Earth. You're human and you're having a human experience. The pattern number one, and this is one of the two that I do have, the number one pattern that I do have is it's just kind of like a very basic fear where it manifests as basic worry. Taxes due, basic worry. Having a little bit of fear of, for me personally, walking on ice because I'm so afraid of slipping and hurting my leg, basic fear. So there's basic fears that a lot of us, a lot of you are going to feel. And the basic fear is in a small proportion, and we tend to feel it, and then we tend to soothe our mind with reasonable explanations, nothing to worry about, be careful, have somebody hold your hand as you walk down the ice and you're going to be fine. And those things tend to soothe and bring that fear down. Almost every single person on the planet has basic fear. That just, again, comes packaged in being a human being. The second pattern that some people have is catastrophizing tendency. Catastrophizing means that when people feel fearful, they tend to immediately take the situation they feel afraid of and blow it out of proportion. I often feel that what they do is, and I tell this to people, you're spinning out blockbusters. You're making this blockbuster film that nobody's going to want to watch. And it's terrifying and it's scary. And it doesn't have to be, because that's not how things are going to unfold for you. So again, it's taking whatever it is you're afraid of and really blowing it out of proportion. That's a catastrophizing mind. I don't really tend to be catastrophizing type. My husband occasionally will catastrophize the hell out of situation. In the beginning, when we started having arguments in our relationship, the catastrophe was, you're going to leave me, you're going to divorce me. So that's a catastrophizing mind. Again, nothing wrong with that. That's just how you're organized. Then there's a third pattern, and that's another pattern that I do have, and that's ruminating type. Ruminating type are where they're fearful of something, and then they spend their working days and nights, and maybe it lasts for days or weeks, for some people for months, where the mind will ruminate and in an attempt to find a solution. So I call it circle loop. When you're stuck in a loop and you are like a hamster in a wheel and you're running and running and running and running, and the minute you feel like you have a solution, that solution is not good enough, and then you find the problems in solution, and then that's not good enough. And you notice, as I describe it, my speech is speeding up, because that's what rumination feels like. It's almost as if you are having a sugar rush in your mind, and a lot of ideas and a lot of answers are popping all in one direction, and you're trying to solve the problem of that which you fear. So I tend to be ruminating type, and I tend to be like just worry type. My husband, worry type and catastrophizing type. See, everybody's going to be different, and that's just how we deal with fear. There's nothing pathologizing about it. However, when we do tarot cards, and when we are in that situation of already feeling fear, and again, we're talking about using tarot in situations that are already very fear-provoked for you. Again, we're talking about anxiety, so very anxiety-provoked situation. This is not daily draws. This is not questions of what can I do for the greater good of my soul. This is not questions of that type of magnitude. These are the questions of things that really, really induce that state of fear in you. Should I leave this relationship? What will happen if I change my jobs drastically? Things of that magnitude. And here's where I think it's not the best to do tarot readings when you are in that state of mind, in that really fearful state of mind in regards to situation. Because if you are worried type and you're doing a tarot reading on your situation and you draw Nine of Swords, I guarantee you chances are your worry is going to skyrocket. And what is that going to do? And how is that going to be helpful? Now, imagine if you are a ruminating type and now you got a Three of Swords. How are you going to now ruminate about what that means? Or what if you got, this is my nemesis card, Seven of Discs, right? What if you're a catastrophizing type and you got Five of Discs? Are you going to be now catastrophizing? Is bankruptcy coming? Am I going to be completely on a street? Is my house going to befall me? Or what if you get this card? Five of Swords. Or Bush. Swamp. I call this swamp. This is a swamp. So, of course, there's no guarantee that you might get one of the so-called unpleasant negative cards in tarot when you're very anxious and you're doing a reading on situation. But why take the chances and spin the tendencies you already have into complete out of control? And if you are ruminating type and you draw this, how much more trapped are you going to feel that you just don't have a solution? Or what if you are worrying type and again, you draw this, indolence, and you just feel like nothing is going to get better? So do you see what I'm trying to say? Is that sometimes when we're in that really, really anxious state and we do a tarot reading, depending on our also tendency to deal with that fear and how we're organized around it, the chances of getting this card can really, or this card, futility. Oh my God, holy shit, I'm screwed. Or this card. How about Tower? Anybody else? So you get the point I'm trying to say. It actually going to spin you even into more anxiety, anxious state. And I just don't understand how is it going to help you. I know it doesn't help me because it just makes me feel even worse about situation. And then I spent wasting so much of my time ruminating and worrying about it because that's the type I am. So what do we do, right? What are the options here? You want to do tarot because this is such a wonderful tool to find clarity, to get a sense of direction, to find out what steps you need to take. It's almost like a teacher, a mentor, somebody that you can come to and can help you figure things out. And especially if you are a person that struggles with relationship, doesn't have a lot of friends, maybe doesn't have a good supportive family environment. In other words, you don't have anybody to call, to talk to. I am very, very lucky. I can call my friends and say, can you throw 3 cards? Tell me what you think. And even if they get negative cards, because it's not me doing the reading, somehow it becomes less of a big magnitude for me. But what do you do if you don't have anybody and you still want to do reading? You still want to feel some element of control. You want to figure out how to move forward. This is where I have some suggestions for all of you. And what I recommend, and this has worked wonders for me and for my readings when I'm really, really in that anxious / fearful state, instead of using tarot, using oracle decks. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, using oracle decks that are grounding, supportive, and loving. Now, excuse me, one might say, how is that going to help? Are you basically suggesting those love and light fluffy decks? Excuse me. No, I'm not suggesting that, although that could be totally used as light and fluffy as you want, and I'll tell you why. When we're in a very, very fearful state, it's going to be very, very hard for our mind to receive a clear answer because we're so blocked by that fear. That fear needs to be really reduced and brought down first, has to be decreased from the level that it's at for our mind to be able to now perceive some kind of solution and start thinking about how orienting ourselves. So a deck that is supportive and that's going to ground and help brings that energies is going to be very instrumental. And then as your day goes, or second day, on that second day, if you're starting to feel a little bit more, okay, I'm less fearful about situation now, then you can use tarot decks. But this is such an amazing and great tool, guys, to just bring it down a little bit. And it's going to help a lot of you who are especially tend to be catastrophizing and ruminating. It's going to help you just, it's like taking a nice soothing bath or having a really nice supportive hug, except you're using oracle decks for that. This is where it's going to be very instrumental. So let me share with you some that I picked from my shelf that I can recommend. And if you have them, great. If you don't have them, you don't have to get them. Look at your shelf, see which oracles you look at, and they feel supportive. You don't want to have an oracle deck it's like punching to the point. Those decks that we call shadow work decks or holding up truth to your face type of decks. You want a deck that can obviously should tell you truth, but they tell it to you, in a loving and supportive manner. So the first deck, I got it recently, and I get an amazing amount of supportive feeling from it. I don't know why the light today is not cooperating. It's going in and out, guys. Soul Mirror Oracle. This was recently Racine on Oval Moon 513 recently showed this deck, and at first I was not impressed, but then my friend Victoria said, just get it. And so I got it. Nice backs, nice cold gilding. I get such an incredible supportive feeling coming from this deck. Let me do it this way because I think the light might be better. This deck feels very feminine, but I believe it is all women energy deck. And it's directional. It is clear. And even though I have not worked with this a lot, it delivers messages in a very supportive and loving way. It's like going to see a high priestess for a reading and having high priestess give you guidance. What I just noticed there's so many black cats in this deck, and here's another one, and I love that. Oh my God, I love black cats. I used to have cats, and oh my God, guys, look at this, a third one in a row. How cute is that? I know people think that the black cats are bad luck, but I think they are such a good luck. So you see where I'm going with this already, right? So a deck where you pull it and you just feel like somebody's watching over you. When, I'm telling you, when you are stressful and anxious and very, very fearful about the situation, and then you draw like a tower or 10 of swords, there's just nowhere you're going to feel like anybody's on your side. You're going to feel like the whole universe is fucking with you. You're going to feel like life is out to get you, and it's going to feel painful. And I just don't understand, to be honest, why do that to yourself? And I know none of you are really doing that to yourself, right? You're not thinking, I'm going to do tarot reading just so I can feel even more pain from what I'm already feeling. It's not very cognitive. Nobody's really thinking like that. But now that you watch this video, I just want you to think about it a little bit. And especially if you have a tendency to be ruminating, or if you have a tendency to be catastrophizing. This is almost like, recognizing that oh shit, I'm about to do a tarot reading on a situation that I'm really scared about. And I also learned recently that I tend to catastrophize things. I'm going to go ahead and pull one of the supportive oracle decks instead. That's actually a form of self-care. That's a form of taking care of yourself. So this would be my first recommendation. Soul Mirror Oracle. This is an Amazon deck, and I'm so happy. Oh, I put them all wrong. I'm so happy. I cannot tell you how happy I am to see a deck that's matte and has this nice matte gold gilding versus the really, really shiny one. Who published it? Blue Angel. I'm surprised. I'm just impressed. I think finally the mass produced producers are listening to the tarot community. So this would be the first one that I would recommend. The second one that I would recommend is, I don't see this deck a lot. And I think it's still in print. It's an indie deck. It is the only animal deck I have because the booklet for it has poetry for each card, and it is absolutely breathtaking. And it's such a great, great deck. It is called Spirit Animal Oracle, and it is by Kale Klassen. If you have another deck that is an animal deck, Kim Krantz Animal Spirit comes to mind. It would be really, really good when you feel really fearful or scared about situation, because there's nothing like animal medicine to unite all of us, to make us feel like we're part of the. For me, when I see animal medicine, it's like feelings there's a familia out there that has my back, and there's nothing like having that experience. And those of you who have pets, you know exactly what it feels like to have a pet, a cat or a dog or a parrot or a fish or a snake, when you are in a stressful situation, just to have a pet by you. I just noticed looking at these cards that the cards have acquired this yellow hue. I don't know why the cards do that. They've been in a box, and it's not like I've been keeping them by the sun, but they have acquired this yellow hue. I don't know. I gotta also say, my lipstick today is on point. I love it when you do lipstick. Oh, look at this, how gorgeous. And it's just on point because it can be such a pain to put it on. So this is Spirit Animal. Here's the book. It is thin, but it is so fantastic the way she writes. It's poetry. Oh gosh, and there's the keywords for each animal medicine. Okay, let me just read one for us today. Okay, let me just blindly select one for us. Okay, here. This is frog, and the keyword is evolution. Frog medicine is about evolution, highlighted brilliantly by their transformation from egg to tadpole to full-fledged frog, from completely waterbound to capable of life, both in the water and on the land. If frog has shown up for you, don't be surprised if you find yourself swimming in transitioned energy. To ease your evolution, though, where you can, when you can, soften into the shifting, changing, releasing, and receiving of your expansion. Frog is also deeply connected to water, and so this may be a reminder for you to pay attention to the water, the energies that you are swimming in. Wherever you land in the proverbial pond of life, truly look at your experience in your evolutionary process, dig into your teachings, medicine, purpose, and work, inquire into what has been the theme of the last few months, maybe the theme of the past year, maybe the theme of this life. Maybe the theme of your ancestral roots. What walls are you still slamming the soft body of your being into? What is still needing release or transformation so that you may shift into your next phase of growth? What are you being shown but maybe refusing to see? Big, beautiful, hella challenging energy you swim in. Do all that you can as consciously, holistically, and tenderly as you can to support the evolutionary process of your heart, your spirit, and your human form. I now forgotten as I started reading it that it's not all poetry. I think none of it is poetry, but to me it reads like poetry. But how perfect is it for us talking about fear and anxiety, and we got this evolution, right? that we're all evolving, we're all transforming, we're all stepping into, and bypassing through that fear is part of that evolution. So I highly recommend it. This is by K.L. Klassen, the Spirit Animal Oracle. And you know what? I'm going to leave it because I think it's time I use them. Next one on our list is going to be, this is on Amazon. It is actually, I think it's independently produced, but sold on Amazon. And it is a splurge. It is expensive for an Oracle for sure. I think it's $65. Definitely the production lives up to it. This is Love Oracle of Eden. Booklet is short, but great and to the point. Again, as I said, the production lives up to it. It's gilded, it's matte, and the photography of the deck is gorgeous. Look at that love. Beautiful. They're glossy too. This deck, when I got it, at first I thought that it was going to be, because of the name, Love of Eden, I thought that it was going to be very like religious, maybe even Christian inspired. It is not. It is so embracing of all humanity, has different cultures in it, different races in it, has different body types in it. It has LGBTQ people in it. It has trans people in it. I really like that inclusivity of this deck. It feels like you belong. Look at this. Riding unicorn with the trans flag. And look at this gorgeous voluptuousness with what looks like also LGBT flag. Oh, forgiveness. This is very gentle, very loving, very artful, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous deck. Absolutely gorgeous. So this is another one that I would definitely recommend. You can see already how pulling, just the images are so soft and so supportive and loving. I can see already how pulling this deck when you're feeling very fearful and anxious is going to be so grounding and so helpful and so loving. So this is the Love Oracle of Eden. I got it on Amazon. It comes in humongous, gorgeous, unfolding box in a velvet green pouch. Just beautiful production, but it's an indie splurge from an Amazon. Some of you don't like this creator of this Oracle deck. Some of you think that she completely sold out. I don't necessarily disagree with everybody on their opinions. I do think that this creator's earlier decks are still fantastic and hold up to whatever was put into them initially. I honestly don't really know what this creator doing much these days, other than people, every time I show this deck, people are like, oh, I cannot stand Colleen Baron-Reed because she's just like sold out and money-making machine. And I honestly, I have no idea. And I think honestly, none of us really know what Colleen is doing or what her intentions are unless we directly ask her. I think it's very easy to presume that that's what the person doing, but it could be that she still has really good intention, even though she has stepped into a sphere of monetizing her knowledge or her content. But having said that, this is Enchanted Map Oracle. This is one of the two oracles that I have by Colleen Reed. I just noticed my box somehow is broken. I have no idea how that happened. But my husband would not be surprised because he calls me like a monster because I break everything. I'm like a Russian bear and everything gets broken. So this is Enchanted Map. I think I have an old edition with the old backs. I think the new edition has the different backs. And I, of course, trimmed mine, being the trimmer me, and edged mine green. I think this is an amazing deck to use when you're feeling fearful, because not only is this supportive and a very, very clear reader, even though the artwork is not exactly my cup of tea, and it may not be your cup of tea. Sometimes we gotta have those decks that not our cup of tea, but they just do their job. They do their function, and what are you going to do? You got to value them for exactly what their premise is and what they're supposed to do. So this one is really good because it's can be so directionable and it can be so actionable. And when you are so anxious and fearful and you're spinning out of control and you feel like you don't have any control, that's exactly what so many people might just need. I at least need something more actionable and something more directional. So this is again Enchanted Map by Colleen, what is it? Colleen something Reed, Baron Reed, big name. So if you have it, you know, you read with it. I have got some fantastic, very clear, actionable, directional reads using the stack. So Enchanted Map. Let me know if you have it. And if you really think that you don't like her, you think sold out, she sold out, it's okay. You're okay to share your opinion down below. We'll have opinions. God knows, you all know I do too. Next one is Beloved Alana Fairchild, Sacred Rebels Oracle. Love this deck. I have had it gloss edition, got rid of it, then I got the matte edition, which is the latest edition. This is, I would be surprised if some of you don't have it. Let me know if you don't have it, but I think this is beloved by so many. And this is the one that when you're feeling really anxious, it can give you clarity and support, but also at the same time, I hope I'm not getting sick. Also at the same time, it is a deck that gives you guidance, and it's a deck that helps you just kind of hold yourself to being okay owning all those parts of yourself, even parts of yourself that you may not feel comfortable with. The guidebook, as you know, is really great, and Alana, with a lot of her writing is always incredibly supportive. Even if the card that comes out that may not be necessarily the best positive card, her writing, we got to give it to her, is always supportive, and she writes in such a loving manner. One time I was burned out from my work and I pulled this card. I was like, yeah, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna take really good long sleep and you're going to allow yourself to do nothing. So highly recommend this deck. Not every year, but this year I do every year. What I do is I do year ahead spread for each month with my Zos stack. And this year, particularly in addition to that, I used this one as additional as well. So really, really good one. So Sacred Rebel is going to be another one to use when you have the situation and you're really fearful and you want to get guidance. Next one is the last Oracle deck, and then I have the Tarot. Remember how I said is a Tarot deck that I would recommend that if you really, really, really feel like you want to use Beloved Tarot deck instead of using oracles, this could be it. This is Doua Oracle, and if you have not seen, I have an in-depth review of this Oracle on my channel. Comes with really interesting booklet because it gives you actionable things to do for each of the cards, which I really, really like. I know that the word das, it's comes gilded, pretty. I know that the word das can be really terrifying to consider. This is also indie published, by the way, to consider when you're feeling very fearful. But this deck is all about death as a transformation, death as us going through the threshold of evolution. And for that reason, when we're fearful, we know we're about to go through something. We may feel like we're out of control and we don't know how it's going to pan out, but we all know we're going to go through it. And so that's an element of transformation. And this is a great oracle to support us in that. The cards are somewhat abstract images. It is absolutely beautiful, beautiful oracle deck. I adore this oracle deck. Again, I do have in-depth review of this. Like this one says, from the ashes, right? So from the ashes, I'm sure it's something about rising from the ashes. And when you're really fearful and scared, and you get this card, to me personally, from the ashes feels very empowering because it reminds me to connect to my power. It reminds me to connect to the fact that I can rise. I can't climb to the top. I can get out of the situation. This ritual card, I love the beautiful, beautiful light blue on this. So ritual, for example, and there's an exercise in there for ritual to actually engage in some kind of ritual. Maybe you're feeling anxious and you're worried, and maybe it's just time to, what is your ritual? Is your ritual early morning with a cup of coffee and journaling? Can you return to that ritual? Could your ritual be an evening walk? Could it be yoga and meditation? So I really recommend this deck too. It is grounds you, it helps you do this magic. Imagine you're so fearful, but you pull this card, and instead of using tarot cards that might just scare you even more, why not use magic at your disposal? You are magic. Magic is you. You are the most powerful tool. And this is Doua Oracle cards. So do you see now why I'm recommending Oracle decks that are supportive and loving and caring and also directional? Because it can so help reduce that state of worry that you might be in. It helps me tremendously to reduce me in the state of worry that I'm in. And it's very, very instrumental. And you know what? And then when your state of worry has been reduced and you're feeling much better, go ahead and use tarot decks. I'm not saying don't use them at all, but I'm just saying that I just think that chances of getting those negative cards when you feel already so worried is just ouchy. It's painful. It's like having a wound and then you draw the Ten of Swords or Tower card, and it's almost as if you're poking and pulling on your wand, or you pouring alcohol over your wand, and it stinks even more. That's the image that I get. So if you wanted to use a tarot deck, this is an example. You may have a tarot deck that makes you smile, makes you laugh, that even a Tower and Ten of Swords is hilarious. For me, it is an indie deck by Tony Letton. It is the only Rider-Waite-Smith absolute smack rendition that I have, because this is the only Rider-Waite-Smith I can tolerate. As you know, I'm not a fan of Rider-Waite-Smith. If you are, that's great. But this makes me laugh. The faces. Oh my God, the eyes. Look at this queen. Look at her eyes. So if you're feeling really, really anxious and you're absolutely adamant about using tarot deck, how about this tarot deck? Or you may have another one that I think about is Tarot of the Magical Forest, I think it's called, the one that Kelly Bear loves. The one that has all those cutie pootie animals. That would be a great one. There's a pug tarot. Oh my God, I would love a pug tarot. That would make me laugh because I love pugs so much. There's tarot of cats. Okay, look at this Ten of Swords. I'm looking at this Ten of Swords and I'm laughing already because the face on her, she's pinned down, but it's almost, she's like, huh? I don't know if you guys can see it. Look at her face. She's like, huh? You pinned me down? What? I was just getting over that fence. Why can't I get over that fence? I love that. Look at this. This one is my favorite. What this Temperance is wearing with the whole headpiece and the whole kaftan piece, this is me on my day off. Instead of her moving the water from chalice to chalice, I move wine from a bottle to a chalice and relax with a nice glass of wine. This is hilarious. I love it. Look at these lovers. I love this deck so much. Oh my God. It's so Rider-Waite-Smith, and I don't really care. Tony Leon done such an amazing job with it. The colors, I love the colors. I love the characters. I love their faces. Look how whimsical this tower is. It just makes you realize that this is not the worst that can happen. Not the worst that can happen. So and look at this Five of Pentacles. And they're holding a sign that says hungry, homeless, help. And they look hip as hell. So this is what okay, one more. So you might have a tarot deck that just does what it does to me. As you can see, my face lights up. I start laughing. I start smiling. So you might have a tarot deck that does the same to you, and it just brings a huge, huge smile to your face. This might be a good time to pull for the deck and to use the deck and to read with the deck during the state of the Tori, because it's not gonna, when you're gonna get the 10 of Swords, it's not going to freak you out. It's going to make you smile. It's going to make you laugh. So comment below, share if you would like. Do you recognize your anxiety pattern? Like I said, we all have it. We all have that fearful pattern, and there's nothing wrong with it. I am, like I said, ruminating and worry type. And what it's like for you when you do tarot, when you in that state of a lot of fear. Has there been oracle decks that you use that I use, or are there some that you would recommend? Comment below and share, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.